So our monthly theme this month is all the colors of love. And today we are going to talk about for the love of God. And one of the things I want to talk about first is how that simple statement brought something very deep-seated in me that I didn't know existed. And what I heard was, for the love of God, Gayle. Other people too, all right. Wasn't just me. And so life is about perception, is it not? That is a beautiful statement. When I heard Susan say it in meditation today, I was like, oh, that's how it should be said. I don't know if I can do that yet. Because in my head, that's what I hear is my mother. So I'm glad to know I wasn't alone. I want to start with a quote by Dr. Ernest Holmes. He is the founder of religious science, which is what we teach here. And this is from the Science of Mind textbook on page 608. Love is the self-givingness of the spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. Emerson tells us that love is a synonym of God. We are also told in the New Testament that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And we are reminded of that every time we walk into this sanctuary. God is love. Love is free from condemnation, even as it is free from fear. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. You can't beat Holmes' words. So the book of the month, as Randy said, is The Body is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love. And I will tell you, when I first saw this book, I went in to judgment. Like, first of all, maybe I can't sell that in the bookstore. There is a woman on the cover, and she has flowers on. That's it. Inappropriate places. And then she has the book title across herself. And then I started to read it, and it really is about her story and her friend's story. And there is a whole movement about The Body is Not an Apology. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. And so one of the things that we are asked is, what gets in the way of us being love? What gets us in the way of being that which we are created to be? She tells us you can't get on this planet without having a body, correct? None of us. Every person on this planet has a body. Every single body looks different. Even identical twins, if you get to know them, you will see a difference in them. No, we are snowflakes. I used to have a practitioner that would tell everybody in prayer that would come to see her, remember, you're a snowflake. Every single one of us is different. And where we go, and so it's to look at ourselves, not where we go. It's to look at, I believe, and I sent out one of my Rev Gayle's wake-up calls, was about, if you can't forgive yourself, you can't be forgiving. There is a disconnect there. It's hard to realize. It's hard to accept. It begins at home. As she says, and as we teach here, it is an inside-out job, not the opposite. You have to forgive yourself. If you are going to love, deeply, deeply love another person, you have to deeply, deeply love yourself. Why? Because that's where it starts. And what does that mean? How many of us have or do even now in a relationship think that we have the best idea of how our partner should behave? Thank you, back row, for raising your... There we go. There we go. Every single one of us, I believe, there is something that our partner, our loved one, our husband, our wife, whomever they are, we think that there is something about them, if they would just do this, they would be so perfect. The truth is, if they would just do this, it wouldn't be the person you fell in love with. Right? Right? Hello? Yes? Yeah. And so to own the fact that to really love, to really be the presence of love, to really have love live through you, you have to love yourself. And that is huge. For I think all of us, I know it is true for me. There are things about myself that, I beat myself up about. Oh, if I just hadn't done that. Oh, if I just hadn't done this. Your body is not an apology. It is not to be damned. It is not to be scolded. It is not to be treated with disrespect. It is not to be used to make friends. Your body is the one thing that you have that you should love unconditionally, no matter what it looks like. It doesn't mean that if you decide you love your body and yet you would like it to look different, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do something different. However, if you see somebody, this is not a small woman. She's bodacious. You know what I love about her is she loves her body. She took a picture of herself. One of the ways this started was she took a picture of herself, probably this picture, and she just kept it on her cell phone. And when she was feeling down or she was feeling insecure, she would go to that picture and she would say to herself, that is a bodacious woman, I love her. But she wouldn't share it with anybody. And then somebody on Facebook shared a picture of herself, and she was also a bodacious big woman. And she was a model. And she realized that this woman gave her permission to share her picture with the world on Facebook. And now on Facebook, there is a whole following of Your Body Is Not an Apology. Because it is what we individually and collectively attack the most, is it not? Who is the singer that is Lizzo? Lizzo. God bless her soul. Did you see her at the Grammys? This is a woman. This is a bigger than life woman. Bigger than life woman in a corset. Now, I will tell you, I blinked. I was like, wow. And yet what I got was her size and how she chooses to dress and display herself, none of my business. None of my business. That's how we prevent ourselves from truly loving and being the presence of God, is because we think there is a certain way a body should look. And each one of us might think that looks like something different. We think we know how people should talk. We think we know how people should love. We think we know how people should worship. That would be really boring, would it not? If we all looked the same, if we all loved the same, that would get crowded, right? If we all decided we were just going to all love the same. If we all worship the same, oh good God, what would we talk about? We are made different for a reason. And I think that reason is so that we can spiritually grow into the magnificence of who we are supposed to be and why we're here. And we can only do that by loving ourselves and then letting other people be who they are, without judgment. If somebody's not hurting you, why do you care? How many of you have seen people at the grocery store in their pajamas and you immediately go into, really? You can't even get dressed to go to the grocery store? Seriously, am I the only person that thinks that? Oh, thank you. Again, please don't leave me up here by myself. Right? Why does that bother me? They're dressed. Does it make their grocery shopping less important than my grocery shopping? Really? Why does it bother me? I don't know either, Barb. I'm still looking for an answer. If you come up with one, let me know. So that is how we spiritually grow. That is how we find that divine spark in us. When we can go grocery shopping and the most things we're looking about is what's on sale or what's not on sale. Not about what somebody's wearing. Not about two people holding hands and we're thinking, how did they ever become a couple? Shouldn't care. None of my business. Always remember that quote. It is none of your business what other people think about you. And the other thing you could probably say is, it's none of your business to think things about other people. It really isn't. It's to find that place in you where God lives. And come from that place of knowing the Spirit inside of you. Come from that place of absolute love. David Robinson, I think most of you know David. He is now the minister down in Olympia. And he talks about perception. It's all perception. I don't know if many of you know this. David used to be a cyclist. And he learned to cycle here in the state of Washington. And, if you've lived here long enough, you know that, especially if you live in Seattle, if you're going to be a cyclist, you're going up and down hills. There's no real flat spots unless you're down at the water. And you have to get there somehow, and then you have to get out. So there's hills. And he had a best friend that came to visit him, and she lived in Florida. She, too, was a cyclist. And so they go out, and they come to one of those hills. And it's a big one. And David's thinking, woohoo! Hill, I am so excited. And she's looking at him like, oh my God. Hill. How am I going to get up that hill? Same hill. Same bikes. Should be, you would think, same experience. It is not. That's the beauty of life. We each and every one of us get to have our own experience. And if we can contain that into knowing it's our experience, it has nothing to do with what people are wearing, who they choose to love, where they go to church. It's our experience. And if we can give up judgment, if we can give up, judgment's probably the biggest one. If we can give up judging other people, where would that start? Self-judgment. Give up judging ourselves. Find that place where this is me. I can change it if I choose. How many of you remember at the community meeting where I said, if we want to really move out of this space, we have to raise and praise this space. We have to continually talk about what we love about this space. Because if we keep complaining about it, we're not going anywhere, because the universe believes that this is what we want because we're stuck on it. So think about that when you judge yourself. Wouldn't it be better to say, I love my body. I love the way it moves. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. And because I love my body so much, I'm going to exercise more. Or I'm going to eat more healthy. Instead of saying to myself, God, I hate my body. How many of you do that? Out loud or to yourself? Stop it. I'm really going to start being Bob Newhart. We just have to stop it. We really do. Just stop it. And so it is all about ways of getting out of the way so you can truly love who you are. And then to remember, it's not always easy to do the right thing, is it? How many of us judge first and then maybe think, boy, that wasn't kind. I could do better. How many of you are in relationships, and I will own this, and you say something to your partner and then you think, I wouldn't say that to myself, or to your child, or to your best friend. There is something in us. If I say to somebody, gee, what's going on that's great in your life? Have you ever done that? And they stumble over the words, don't they? Well, let me see. If I say to somebody, gee, what happened? What's going wrong? Do you know how immediately they can jump and tell me everything? Everything that's going wrong in their life. That is a human condition. It is how we have been raised. One of the things about the body is to remember. When you were Vinny's age, I would use that adorable little baby girl as an example too, but I don't remember her name. They love, I'm sorry, Ryan. So Vinny and Ryan, you can ask their parents afterwards if you don't remember. They love their bodies. They are so excited when they find their feet, right? And oh my God, their hand. They have no idea. They love their bodies. We loved our bodies until somebody said something, or we saw something on TV, or picked up a magazine, and then all of a sudden, this isn't good anymore. It is good. It's the house where God lives, no matter what its size is. It is the place where that divine spirit lives within you. And so to remember that always. And then love that up. Because if you love that up, it will shift. It will shift. And so to always remember, it is easy to be critical, I think. It takes work and consciousness to be kind on a 24/7 basis. And I believe that's why each one of us is here, to really start to practice being kind. It is evolution of the soul. It is who we are. And if we, because of what we teach here, if we can't do it, why would we expect anybody else to do it? We teach this. We teach people to own who they are, to be proud of who they are. They're making their reality with how they speak and how they behave. Each and every one of us. We could be the changers of the world. Don't focus on what you don't like about anything. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. It will expand. If we keep focusing on what is wrong, it too will expand, because that's how the universe works. So remember that when you turn on your TV. Remember that when you yell at a spouse. Remember that when you're unkind at work. It is easy to fall into the habit of spewing discontent. It takes spiritual practice to be the place where love lives. And that's what Ernest Holmes teaches us. We are the place where love lives because God is love. And we are the place where God lives. And so when you are loving, you are God at its most magnificent. And when you're not, it's okay. You're still God. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's just waiting for us individually and collectively to wake up, to realize who we are and why we're here. And so I want to close with another reading. It is also by Ernest Holmes. Kathy Ann asked where this came from, and I'd never heard it before, and I love it. It's called Cosmic Light, and it's a reminder, I believe, for each one of us to maybe try silence sometimes instead of always thinking that our voice needs to be heard. By removing false beliefs, by engaging with my true and higher self and choosing to be a place where love is present. I create a better world for myself and for all whom I meet. To love is to be of service. Through love lies the road to God. How will you love God today? Very frequently, I sit down all alone for 2 hours and listen to the silence. And it speaks. And look into the darkness, and it turns light. It is there, and there is no question about it. God is warmth. Spirit is colorful. The universe is filled with light. A voice speaks from everything. Running brooks, stones, and stillness. And you can listen to the stillness until it speaks to you. So I invite you this week to take time. It doesn't have to be 2 hours, especially if you're not used to being in silence. Take some time to be in the silence. It is where God speaks to you. It is where that creative force lives. So just breathe that in for a moment. Breathe in the light. Breathe in the love. Know that you are God. And so it is.